guys, so we're about, let's say a quarter of the way into the journey. It took about 4 hours. 4 hours to go. And I just wanted to kind of unpack everything that I just saw at Overland Expo. It is a big event, although there were some people telling me that it was not quite as big as last year. There's a couple of vendors present, vendors that they told me had showed up in the previous years that I was looking forward to seeing, but we're not there this year, unfortunately. But anyways, there was a lot of variety, I think is the operative word here. There is everything from a truck with just all-terrains and a bunch of crates from Walmart, camping with a Napa awning and maybe a tent off the back of the truck, to the 500,000, maybe more, 600,000-700,000 just mobile houses. I was more into kind of the glamping, I think overlanding personally, but I did enjoy the variety, and I enjoyed seeing all of the different vendors from from other states. Virginia, we had some we got a lot from California. Found out a couple of places that people were out of that were surprising. I thought just about everyone that I was going to ask was going to say, "Oh, we're out of California," and that actually was not the case. So that was cool. But one of the great things that I did this year, I was not able to get kind of a rollout going with a bunch of my friends. There were a good bit of my friends that were going, but ended up just working out that I just went by myself. It was no shade to any of my friends or anything like that. I did have a great time. I had some talks and some beers with some longer term friends, but one of the things that I really wanted to do was rely on myself. So that's what I did, and I got a weekend camping pass in just general camping, not primo, which I still really didn't figure out where the premium camping was. I saw when they got their one drink ticket, which is cool, maybe a little bit of motivation for next year. But camping in the field and coming nice and early on Thursday seems to be the way to go. There is a lot of stuff in Virginia I'd like to do next year, maybe before the expo, maybe hit a little bit of the top part of the Blue Ridge Parkway, or something like that. If the timing works out before, at end of month versus beginning of month. I work in the auto industry, so end of the month can't take that off. That's just out of the question. But anyways, back to Overland Expo. It was a fantastic event. Weather was so beautiful, but it was very bipolar in the temperature. First night it was into the 40s, and then the next day it warmed up into the 70s, 80s, and I got a little bit of a sunburn. I got a little tomato action going on. So it was a crazy swing of temperature. I didn't realize that in the middle of what I would say fall. I didn't think this is not Georgia. It won't be that hot, and it didn't feel like sunscreen was necessary. But I certainly should have brought it, and I certainly will bring it for next year. One of the other things I will probably do is sign up a bit earlier and get some friends together, because you cannot reserve spots once you get there. I learned a couple of things like that. Bathrooms are a little bit farther than I was thinking that they were going to be, but it's kind of a field style festival, as they call it, style camping, which was really cool. You get to park if you're by yourself like I was. You run into folks, and all you really got to do is just find something on their rig that you really like, be it a very similar rig like another 4Runner, or a completely different setup like a Unimog or some crazy ambulance camper conversion thing, which there was a couple of content creators. I believe there was one, I can't remember the name of it, that was there, and they were all set up, and it was all very cool to see those setups as well. But in that weekend camping area, that kind of the field, you get there early, park up, and you just meet some friends around your general area. You're not always going to be at your truck, so it's not like you're going to spend the next 4 days with those folks. There is a lot to see in the show. There's the vendors, the food trucks, obviously happy hour, and lots of things like that. And then in the show, this year there was Subaru was a main sponsor. There was Chevy and a couple of others that I'll look at and make a quick edit video to put those in once I look at that and I'm not driving down the road here and talking. But it was overall, I absolutely enjoyed the experience. I think I did accomplish the goal of relying on myself and not relying on other people's presence to be happy, and I am really proud of myself for that. That's kind of a personal thing for me, because I'm a very social person, but I did need a bit of a break from that, and I didn't want to rely on others for fun. So I just kind of made my own, bounced around, had conversations with completely random folks. Had a quick conversation with some folks that were playing Sleep Token. They unfortunately happened to be in the middle of their meal, and I didn't really want to interrupt, but I stopped by and said hey, and love the rigs and all that. So as long as you're willing to do that, I think going by yourself is something that you can feasibly do. I think next year I will definitely look for a crew to be around, because it is a little bit more fun, coming from my experiences at events like the Adventure Vehicle Roundup. It's a bit more fun to have somebody to sit around the campfire and just shoot the shit with, pardon my French, and not really have a care, not really have a care in the world. And I certainly did that, just by myself. But it was really a eye-opening experience for me. I have never been to an event this size. I've never seen such a variety of camping setups and such like that. But I really did enjoy the company of just completely random folks. I had a couple of folks around me from New York. Had a couple of folks from somewhere out Midwest, and just people from all over. Got to meet my buddy Troy T Designs. Big shout out to you. Super cool dude on Instagram, super cool dude in person. Looking forward to seeing you at the next event or around the Atlanta area. If you happen by, give us a shout. Anyways, some of the things that I think I will be needing, I think is going to be a drawer system. I need some sort of organization so that I can keep stuff in the rig and just have all the essentials, the kitchen stuff, all that in the rig without having to remember, oh, okay, so I got to get this, and this while I'm camping. All I've got to remember is the food and the clothes, and that's it. I saw a bunch of those setups, from high drawers to kind of lower drawers. I think I'm looking at more of a lower drawer setup personally. I do like to see out the back, but Also, got to meet the guys at Trail Grid Pro, and they had a really cool CarPlay plug-and-play unit that looked really easy. Shout out to them for showing me kind of how to pop it out and how to install their unit once I order one. I did enter a giveaway and actually ended up winning a set of speakers, so grateful for that. And so definitely gonna be putting the CarPlay here in the rig. Maybe trying to use the Wolfbox, I think, Wolfbox unit for the 3, because it offers the 3 cameras, whereas the Alpine that they were using had the one camera front and rear. And I'm really wanting one to kind of go on the front bumper, as it can be kind of tough when you're off-roading, going up a real tough slope, seeing over the hood of the 4Runner. She's a bit longer than some of the competition. So anyway, on to another subject. I think vendors. It was almost impossible to see everything. I tried to get to as many vendors as possible, try to get some footage, but invariably there's going to be stuff that I missed. I know one thing I meant to do was check out the Yamaha booth and just get a ride in one of their side-by-sides or a drive or whatever they were doing. Didn't really get a chance to do that, so next year for sure. Not too sad about missing that one. But there was anything from startup. There was a startup. I can't remember the name of it. Nice foldable camp kitchen. He was there, no rig, and just getting the Airbnb and just trying to get the word of his product out. He's on Kickstarter, and I will certainly insert a little video once I figure out the name of that company into this video. But there's just that you cannot imagine the scope of what is there. From the camper vans to camper van setups, the whole storyteller Overland family thing. I guess I'll have to understand that a little bit better. I thought that was just more of a YouTube channel, but anyway, there are certain trailers, like my buddies at Foxhole Overland, which I hung out with a bunch, super cool dudes, local to Atlanta. Had some really cool trailers, really good price, really good setups. So definitely looking at those as far as a quote-unquote plug-and-play setup, to just hook it up and be ready to go. Toss in the food, toss in the clothes, and boom, as we say. But other thing we saw, there was only one vendor that had like bumpers and stuff, which I'm told usually there's a lot more vendors. There was Cali Raised and maybe one other there, I can't remember if there was. A lot of electronics, a lot of packing solutions. Really enjoyed the scope of everything that I saw. Drive wasn't, kind of on the subject of the drive, as I'm about 4 hours from home now. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, as long as you do it kind of more in the daytime and just don't push your limits. I started real early in the morning, but drive wasn't that bad. It was technically 8 hours when I mapped it. Ended up getting there in 7.5. It's going to be a little bit less than that getting home, obviously because it's a Sunday, less traffic. But kind of back to the show aspect, there's just so many people just willing to talk to you about their product. Super outgoing. Everybody was really welcoming. I don't think I met a single person that I was just like, yeah, this is really just not the vibe. saw just a lot of people that are enthused about their products, had a lot of knowledge, as one should when you come to a trade show like this. I might cut this one out later. That's kind of a Captain Obvious moment here, so I might cut this section out. I did really enjoy there was a lot of knives there. Didn't end up purchasing one, but we'll probably purchase one in the coming weeks. That's the other thing, is a lot of the show has a discount for those that attend in person, getting stuff. Actually got some stuff from my guys over at Super Overland Outfitters, who did some great work for me. First on the dual battery setup in the fridge, and then most recently on setting up the roam box on top and the radio. So really grateful to those guys, and then ended up getting a fire pit, which was really nice to have the following morning to just get some instant heat and not have to haul a ton of firewood. So really gonna be looking forward to that.